to The Rebound, your podcast for everything UHLA, with your hosts, Chaotic and Cubics.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Rebound. In this episode, me and my special guest Green will go over our mock drafts. How are you, Green?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm also doing well. Let's get right into our mock draft.
Okay, so with the eighth pick of my mock draft, I have the SF/SG Gavin Somebody. Gavin Somebody is a great scorer, and he also played great defense, averaging almost 20 points, 55% from the field, 45% from three, and two steals. He's a really great player. The only thing that held him back though is his turnovers. But other than that, he's a great prospect, and especially with Chicago, who needs a small forward, I feel like that would be a great player for them.
Yeah, he's number 8 on my list as well. Definitely a good scorer, like you said. Great defender, shoots efficiently. But like you said, the turnovers are a big issue, and that's why I got him at number 8. But Chicago does need a small forward, so that pick really makes sense.
Um, for the next pick, I had Reggie Klops. Now, Reggie Klops is a very interesting player. He's a great center. He's more of a defender, but the thing about it is he could score very well as a defender. 21 points, 64% from the field, still getting 7 boards, averaging about a steal and a half and a block and a half. Just a solid center overall, to be honest. The only thing for him is again turnovers, but as a center, we kind of expect that because he doesn't have that much dribbling, so it kind of evens out. I feel like that would be a great pick, especially for Washington, who needs that middle piece, that defensive piece on their team, a Draymond Green X player.
My number 7 for Washington is Dixon Reynolds. The reason I have Dixon Reynolds is because he's a pretty good scorer. Definitely a project for that team, but I think he will fit in very well in the seasons to come. I don't think he would be their best pick if they're looking for just skill, but I think the shot guard position, shooting guard position that they need can be filled out by him, who will be a great piece to that team. He also plays good defense, which Washington needs. So I think he's the best pick for Washington to go with at number 7.
Well, next to my sixth pick is Washington again, and I put Dwayne Neal. Now, the reason I put Dwayne Neal here, they if they pick Reggie Klops, they get a defending X player, then they get their scorer, their guard scorer, the person that's gonna take them deep in the late time, fourth quarter type situations, going to hit those clutch shots that they need. And I feel like Dwayne Neal is really that player. Really efficient shooter, 54% from fields, 46% from three, and still averaging about 25 points. Really great player. The only thing that really brings him down is his defense. His defense is just at the point where you could say it's kind of atrocious. You really need that in a guard, considering how there is a lot of scorers in the league nowadays. But
Yeah.
especially having Dwayne Neal on your team, that will really help out when you need that scoring piece. And if they get Reggie
hmm
Klops with Dwayne Neal, that's going to be a deadly duo, especially as rookies.
hmm My number 6 is Reggie Klopp. You took the words perfectly out of my mouth earlier, but I think he would get drafted a little higher than Reynolds. Mainly because of how I see it. Reggie's got really good defense, pretty good rebounding, pretty good scoring. He's really all around just good center. I mean, he's not amazing, like as amazing as the ones above him, but he definitely will get the job done and add some depth to the center position.
Now, for the next pick, LA had the pick, but they traded it to New York. So the
hmm
fifth pick is New York, but I still think the pick is going to be the same. Christian Hart is just a crazy center, one of the best defensive centers, and if not the best defending center in the league. And the fact that he could shoot threes on top of that, he hasn't shot a three, but he can shoot those threes if he developed his shot. The fact that that's there on top of averaging basically three steals and two blocks is crazy to me. The one thing he's have to work on though is his rebounding. He's averaging 6 rebounds at the center, which is acceptable, but is not something that you would say is one of his best qualities. You know what I mean? But I feel like Christian Hart could be one of the best defensive, if not the best defending people in the UHLA if he gets drafted.
Yeah, same here. He's my number 5 for LAT. But like you said, New York has the pick now. I don't think that they would go Christian Hart. They could, but later down my list, they are picking another center. So I think they could go Christian Hart to maybe add some like a power forward maybe. But right now, Christian Hart's my pick. If I had the time to redo the list, I would. But Christian Hart I would be a good pick for that team anyways. Even if they already pick a center. Like you said, great defensive player, great shooter. Also, it does decently well in the not not amazing for any other centers or compared to any other centers, but I mean he gets the job done.
Now for number four, I think we're at. I have for Houston AJ Asher. Now this kid right here, this kid is crazy. Pure sharpshooter. He will not miss from three. 50% from the 3-point line. That is unheard of. Just a pure sharp. 54% from field goal, averaging about 26 points per game. Still getting 3 assists in there. But we would want to work on those assists. Those assists could help him get to that next level, that Stephen Curry type range. Because if he's able to pass the ball on top of being a lead scorer, he's going to be pretty unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing has to work on his defense. Defense is not that exciting. He's not the worst defender of all time out of the guards, but he needs to work on it. But other than that, he is really, really good. If they somebody picks him up, he's going to be a great project. Going to be a great player. We could see him get a couple of scoring chips in his career, but if Houston takes this kid, they're not going to regret it.
I don't know. I don't think that should be the pick Houston goes for because they already have. He's quite a bit of a playmaker, but also a shooter. Um, I don't think they really need that though. I think they need more of a scorer in the guard position, and he can score, but mainly only from shooting. Who I have is Dwayne. The reason I have Dwayne Neal is not only can he shoot good the from 3-pointer range, but he can also score inside the paint. And that's what I think Houston needs. They need just someone who can score the ball on 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 multiple levels. AJ can't really do that, whereas Dwayne Neal can, and I think that's really what Houston needs in order
Well,
to
I
be
see.
start being competitive.
Well, I see what you mean there about Dwayne Neal being able to score from not only the 3-point range but also the inside. But the thing about AJ Asher is you could guard him from the 3-point range and he's still going to be a bucket from there. It's just crazy. It's crazy how much of a sharp he is. Like he's that sharp that you
Mm,
need on a
yeah,
championship team. If you think of any
yeah,
championship team, they have at least one sharpshooter on their team to get them those points that they need, and AJ Asher will be one of those sharps. He's just a crazy player, can play outside of a role, but he when he plays in his role, he is unstoppable. Now the top three we have here. Now for number three, Boston, I got Lance Robinson. Lance Robinson is just like one of the best prospects I've ever seen. It's just crazy. 22 points, 13 assists. It's amazing. And on top of those 22 points, he's scoring officially 54% from the field, 46% from three. One of the best point guards I've seen ever, basically. He's averaging a double double, 22.13 assists. He could still play some type of defense on top of that. He knows how to protect the ball. He didn't even get one turnover throughout the whole season. Like, if you don't take Lance Robinson from three or above, I'm sorry, but that's kind of stupid.
yeah. I agree with that completely. That he's my number 3 as well for Boston. He is the best pick for Boston. I can't see them picking anybody else unless Lance gets picked beforehand. I think that that is the best pick. I think that Boston will definitely become a contender after that. Mainly because they already have some good front court positions. But they do need that kind of backcourt assistance. He's a great shooter, which they need. He's a great playmaker, which they need. He solves the most problems for Boston, and I think that's definitely who they're going.
Now we're in the top two, what everybody's been waiting to see. Sir Beanos or Bernie Sanders. It's basically the top two candidates here. Now, personally, I have Bernie Sanders at number two. And the reason I have Bernie Sanders at number two is I think Beanos has a slight edge over him. But even with that, Bernie Sanders averages 38 points, 77% from the field, 8 rebounds. The only thing that held him back was his defense. All he did was average a block, basically. If he would have had better defense, he would have had the edge over Serbinos. But Bernie Sanders is still a great prospect, almost impossible to guard him. Crazy scorer, but he's going to get picked at number two.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Uh, Bernie's my number two. Benos is my. The only reason, and this is kind of the main reason, is I think it could go either way for these two, depending on what the team drafting. The team with the first pick needs rebounding, but also scoring. If they were just looking for scoring, I could see them going for Bernie, but they also need rebounding. So that's where Benos comes into play. He has the best rebounding skill. I know Bernie got the rebounding rebounding award, but overall Benos is still a better rebounder. Um, I think that that's really what San Francisco needs, and that's why they're going to pick Bernie. But Bernie's got really great scoring. This is something New York really needs because they've been losing because of the amount of or the lack of scoring. But yeah, Bernie will definitely make a huge impact on that team. He's a game changer no matter what.
Number one, one of the most disgusting prospects of all time. He to me he looks like Wilt right now. He is just crazy. Serbinos, 37 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, a steal and two blocks. Literally everything you want for a center except his rebounding. Now I understand we say his rebounding skill, yeah, but that didn't show in the stats. You know what I mean? If it showed in the stats, I would agree. But personally, I didn't see the same thing you saw. But if he works on that rebounding, he will be unstoppable. No question about it. Serbinos will be the number one pick, and he will soon be a UHLA MVP.
Hmm. Yeah, I think yeah, I agree with that completely. I wasn't always looking at the stats, but afterwards, I mean, if he didn't get injured during before the playoffs, I think they probably would have won the championship, but they didn't because he got injured. Um that's one of my big things too is he was the only player to get injured out of all of those rookies. So that shows me that he doesn't have the best durability. He has great skill, like you said, pretty good all around. Definitely everything you want a center. Like you said, rebounding could use work, but I think once it does, he will be one of the greatest rebounders in the UHLA overall. Also, I think he's got a pretty great score. Eventually, I could see him being able to shoot threes effectively. In the paint, he's near unstoppable. Defensively, he's one of the best defensive centers, if not the best. But my only thing is that his durability is not as good as it could be.
And that's a scary thing about having the first pick. There are so many prospects that were borderline unstoppable, from Derrick Rose to Andrew Wiggins to Gordon Hayward, and that one injury just set them all the way back. You can come back from that injury, but you will never be the same. So I think that's the one
Yeah.
scary thing that San Francisco has to look out for. The fact
Yeah.
that Serbinos did get injured and he is injury prone, and we don't know what could happen. If he
Yeah.
doesn't get injured, he'll be unstoppable. But if he does, we don't know if he regresses a lot. We don't know if he comes back the same. It's really scary.
All right. Well, that wraps up things for today. Big thanks to Green for appearing on this episode and to Cube for editing this podcast. When season 2 starts, look out for a new episode every Monday.